Hello, good evening, and welcome to the midweek fix from the LFC Daytrippers for this Wednesday night. Chris bricked himself earlier when I told him, "Listen, if this game gets called off, you better start doing the questions." I could feel him sweating through the phone when I told him this earlier. But it looks like Liverpool versus Arsenal will go ahead in the Carabao Cup semi-final, fourth leg at Anfield tomorrow night. Clearly, Arsenal aren't as afraid of Liverpool as Liverpool were of Arsenal last week. Yeah, we're going to preview this game. Kev is going to tell us who's available for Arsenal, who's available for Liverpool. We might try picking 11, I think we will. We'll have a little chat around the Mo Salah contract situation, which there was updates from Jurgen Klopp earlier on. And anyone else in the chat that wants to throw anything else in, absolutely throw it in. People that have turned up tonight looking for a quiz or a draft and they're upset, we get one out. So, I'm on the verge, right? I'm genuinely on the verge of making any night off that we don't do a normal show, just doing a show and having a quiz. I'm genuinely on the verge of that. I reckon we could turn this channel into a quiz channel, right? So basically, what I'm saying is,
I'm not doing the questions for that.
Well, if we do a show on a Monday, right? We do a show every Sunday. We do a show every Monday, right? We do a show Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on when Liverpool are playing. This show, the midweek fix. We do something usually on a Thursday, and we definitely do something on a Friday, right? What I'm putting forward here to the board of management, right? I don't know who the board of management is, but I'm putting it forward.
Board of management is all misses. Let's be fair.
Yeah. Right. So I'm putting it forward that any nights that we have off, that one of these shows aren't on, if there's a free night, we should just do quizzes. What do you think? Quizzes, drafts, or just random chats? We should definitely fill in the week with random chats, quizzes, or drafts. If you're for that, give me a yes in the chat. If you're against it, say no. But if you say no, like, you're a sad bastard. You know what I mean? But let us know anyway. Chris doesn't want to do it. Kev is like says he's doing it.
I don't know if I'm in the majority. I think they're class, the quizzes.
I'm not doing the quizzes, but I don't mind the drafts. I haven't done a draft yet.
I like the drafts and I like the random chats. They're good fun. I find the quizzes stressful.
The quizzes are stressful. Passio says, nice to see Gav wearing his flashy top from the set of Star Wars. That's a new one. Fair play to you. We're off and running, which is great. I'm genuinely going to take a picture of this jumper and just post it out there. Because it genuinely does look like I'm just sitting in a sea of static on the TV when the cable fell out in the mid-90s. That's what, or the early 90s, that's what happened. So random chats, quizzes and drafts we will definitely get to and try fill in the week as much as we possibly can. I'm just waiting on word back from the board of management, as I've said. So if you're in the chat, you're very welcome. If you have anything random you want to ask us later on, yeah, we'll go for that a little bit later on. If you've subscribed, please, if you're subscribed, fair play to you. If you haven't, go and subscribe. If you haven't hit the like button, hit it. If you want to hit the share button, hit that as well. And of course, keep those comments coming in the chat because they are a massive, massive thing. C. Carr wants to know, has Conroy has his teeth done? Have you got your teeth done?
No, I don't know why. It's maybe just the light.
Conroy has good teeth. Always has.
It's okay. I might have them. I'm not going to get Ross from Friends, but I might get something.
You need to do that. That'd be brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's the Bobby Firmino when he got his done. It was like Ross from Friends. It's brilliant.
Dan Bailey wants to bring on the drafts. Stephen Lennon says the quizzes are the crack, and of course we're trying to bring viewers in on the quizzes, just to let you know. As I've said, make contact with us. We will do a test with you to make sure everything works correctly, and you're more than welcome to come on because Davo and Shawnee smashed the quiz the other night. It's the quiz challenge, I suppose, where two people team up and try to get as many questions right as they can.
Yeah, I don't see anyone beating 76.5%. You might need to rule that null and void, to be honest.
Well, I reckon on that format with the same amount of, I suppose, the same amount of rounds and stuff like that, I reckon if I teamed up with somebody, I could beat it. I genuinely.
It's just sometimes the way the questions fall, though, Gav. Like there's a few guesses that, like educated guesses that they got right. Sometimes that doesn't go for you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, we'll have to wait and see. Quizzes are not the answer, says Johnny B. Red. Oh Jesus, Johnny, for fuck's sake, we were flying until you started. Anyway, you're very welcome, Kev. You're very welcome, Chris. You're very welcome, Conroy. And happy haircut, Kev, says Archie. I asked him did he get his haircut before, and he said no.
No, just different headphones today. Different headphones.
Ah, that's what it is. He has his little headphones
I
in.
got my little Diddy ones in.
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
That's
Are they the ones we sent you that you refused to use for ages? Yeah, good man yourself. Fair play to you. I didn't want to say that, but seeing
They're the
that you're
ones that
using
keep
them now,
falling out. That's the only thing.
we push them into your ear.
They're in there now.
Yeah, okay, we'll push them in. Hopefully they hang on. Right, yeah, so 100 people watching, 35 likes, keep bashing it, and we'll see how we get on. Johnny B. Red says that was sarcasm. It's very hard to read sarcasm when it sounds like you're giving out, Johnny, but I'll take it as sarcasm and we'll move on. So, Liverpool v Arsenal, first leg of the semi-final in the Carabao Cup, due to be played at Anfield tomorrow night. Kev, I'm going to ask the question to you, and I'm going to ask all the other lads as well. What do you think the chances are of this game being called off?
I was looking through what Arsenal got available, right? And depending on their COVID tests that they would have done today, tomorrow, I'd say there's probably a 30% chance. They don't need many. They wouldn't need many positive tests for this to be called off.
Okay.
They're not as far away as what people think, because of the amount of players that are gone to AFCON, the amount of injuries they have, it wouldn't take much.
Okay. Because I'm asking this because Arteta said he admitted that Arsenal may not be able to fulfill the fixture because of a selection headache they have with regards to injuries, COVID, and the African nations. So, you know, if Arsenal have travelled to Liverpool today to play this game tomorrow, I think it goes ahead. If they haven't travelled yet, which I don't know if they have or haven't, I think we could be waiting on these results for early in the morning, and then we'll find out. Chris, what's the chances?
No, I think it goes ahead because, you know, Arsenal fans have made themselves out to be a club of integrity who would never do a thing like this. So, you know, imagine falling on that sword and it not going against you. So, I think it'll make it go ahead because of all the hoo-ha they made over it.
Okay, Conroy,
they'll try and do it as a what can I put it, against the odds sort of thing.
Because Conroy, that's what some people do think, that the quotes from Mikel Arteta about having a selection dilemma or headache is basically, and Chris said it to us before we come on, he's setting expectations here. You know, could it be a case of he's just making these quotes will linger on beyond the full-time whistle, and it'd be a case of, well, Arteta did say we were struggling and stuff like that, depending on the result, I suppose.
Potentially, but also Kev makes a really good point regarding, if you look at like the players away with AFCON and injuries as well, it's not like they're a million miles away from this being a possibility. So I'm kind of tending to agree more with Kev. I feel like maybe about 30-40% chance this game could get called off. I think we'll find out in the morning. And I think you two mentioned before we came on, it's not exactly if they're the other side of the world. You could get down to Merseyside in a flight on the same day. So yeah, you know, I tend to agree more with Kev, to be honest.
Look, I think it goes ahead, but it all depends if they get 3 or 4, maybe 5 positive lateral flow tests tomorrow. Who knows? I mean, the thing is, the precedent has been set now with Leicester that they've had a game called off with no positive COVID test whatsoever. Their problem is pure injury in AFCON, that they physically don't have enough players to put a squad out. And God knows how long that's going to last, because looking at their injury problems, most of their injuries are long-term. They're not going to be players, they're not going to have players available for the next maybe week, 10 days. So, I mean, at some point, the league and the governing bodies are going to have to put their foot down and say, look, these are going to be 3 points dropped, or play what you have.
Well,
you know,
you're saying that, but I'm of the opinion that if Arsenal are in the same situation in the morning that Liverpool were last Tuesday,
they've got no choice.
They've got no choice, and that's protocol. And I wouldn't be surprised or upset. I suppose I'll be upset that the game doesn't go ahead because I want to watch the football. But on this, if I get up tomorrow and I'm told, listen, the game is off, and this is the reason why, I'm good with it. You know, because.
I'll be raging because I'll have to write a quiz.
Well, yeah, you'll have to write a quiz, yeah. Which would be crack. But the thing is, like, for all the moaning and giving out from Arsenal fans, and there's an Arsenal fan here tonight, Arsenal for life, and like, he gives his opinion, fair play to him. and I answer it and stuff like that. But for all the giving out from Arsenal over the last week, like everything was followed as it was meant to be followed, and the likes of this, like, you know, stories coming out saying there could be an investigation. Never going to be a fucking investigation. How can they investigate themselves? They're involved in what went on last week with regards to lateral flow test, PCRs, and the timing of them when decisions were made, and Arsenal. Like, everyone was in on this, you know, the sort of way. And
as soon as the line came out, independent lab also found positives. You go, well, job done, because you're like,
but like for all the stuff that went on, and you know, we've seen some ridiculous fucking shouts about it. At the end of the day, people are getting most upset with the most transparent piece of this. Like, that's the most transparency we've seen from anything, over anything, and people are all upset about it. And sometimes you call for information because you want to make a balanced view, and sometimes too much information people just can't handle. They can't compute all this information and go, oh, they're telling us all this, or they must be saying all this, they're covering their tracks, they're talking too much. Like, at the end of the day, Liverpool went through a process with the EFL, I presume the Premier League, the FA, Arsenal, wherever it might be, labs, whatever, and this was the decision it came to. And Klopp made a comment today saying, you know, are people confused when I say stuff about false positives? What he was saying was that there's time between the first, the second, and the third, and in all that time, you can't use those players. So if it takes a day, and then the third day and the fifth day, if you have 2 games in them 5 days, you can't play them players. Simple as that. You know,
they can't go train neither. They've got to sit at home.
Exactly. So look, at the end of the day, there's been way too much made of this, and particularly when you look around other clubs and what's gone on, and how that has just been like, it's grand. But when it comes to Liverpool, it's like, fuck them out of the league. You know,
Harry's got a comment there a minute. Leicester played the kids in the cup games. So are they not eligible for the league games now since they've made an appearance? No, Barry. That was one of the stipulations that came in with the FA Cup third round. Those third round appearances wouldn't be held as a senior appearance for the purposes of the League Cup or the Premier League games going forward.
Are we at the stage, or have we always been at the stage where under 23s or 18s cannot be considered as part of the numbers?
Unless they've already made a first team appearance in the season so far, in the league, or, you know, competition. So the ones that played in the early rounds of the League Cup for us, the ones who played in Europe, the ones who played any part in the Premier League or who've been in a matchday squad for the Premier League would count. Yeah. But the ones that played in the third round wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, the kicker for that is some of the lads who played for us in the Champions League, they played because we got the job done early. Otherwise, they'd have been nowhere near the squad. There's a reason why, you know, Watman and that got a run out in the San Siro, because we'd already qualified, and it was a nothing game for us. So it was just, we threw some kids on for the last 20 minutes ago. Get your debut in Europe. What harm could it do? But then you sort of go, oh, you got to play them in the Premier League now. You're like, well, not really, because there's a reason why they played. It's the sort of the context of when you played them.
Yeah, I think over the 2 legs you're not going to see Liverpool's first 11, and I don't think you're going to see Arsenal's first 11, which is a pity for this competition. But then again, you know, the EFL showed what they are a couple of seasons back when with the whole Liverpool Aston Villa debacle. But you know, I just want to see a game of football. That's all I want to see. And I, like, genuinely, if Arsenal go to Anfield tomorrow and win 3-1 with a patched up side, fair play to them. You know, and I do, like, Arsenal for Life says this competition means more to us than it does to Liverpool. I agree with you. It does, because it's Arsenal's last chance to win a trophy this season. And if they don't win it, the pressure is heaped on Arteta for top 4, without a shadow of a doubt. And you can try talk around it whatever way you want, but it's absolutely heaped on them. Conroy, say for argument's sake it gets called off tomorrow, just as a little test here. What would you like to see done on this semi-final? Because I've heard calls of one-legged, neutral ground job. Is that the way it's going to have to go?
Potentially. Ideally, you'd want the two legs to replicate the other semi-final, which finished tonight with Chelsea and Spurs. But to be honest, we're running out of days in game spaces in the year, and it really is an issue. I could see that happening. I feel like that would be a smart decision. Just a neutral ground, go for that, and then just play the game, and then at least it can line up. Because you might get some people saying, well, one team had to do two legs, but I feel like the current circumstances with the fixtures and the issues we've got is probably the only logical reason. It's just a bit like what they've done with the league. Was it the League Cup, or they changed the FA Cup at the weekend? There obviously they changed to go straight to extra time now and penalties, so just like no replays. I feel like a similar thing could happen if the game hopefully doesn't get cancelled tomorrow though.
Duster says only when they stop testing healthy people with no symptoms will this stupidity stop. With regards to COVID, there was one other there. Somebody asked, "Is the away leg confirmed?" Yeah, it's confirmed for next Thursday.
It's Thursday.
We go. I keep going to say the Etihad every time I speak about Arsenal. We go to the Emirates. We go to the Emirates next Thursday.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. In the second leg, but Conroy, you're dead right. We are running out weeks and weekends and even a weekend. You know, it would actually take. Well, Arsenal are out of the FA Cup, so that frees them up. It would actually take Liverpool to probably go out of the FA Cup at home to Cardiff to free up a weekend somewhere, and that's where you probably end up having to play.
We still got to play the Leeds fixture as well.
Well, we still of course we still have the Leeds fixture, and Champions League is bearing down on us quick. And once it goes into Champions League, forget it, because you just aren't finding any weeks.
Is there an international break up soon as well?
March.
March. Is there something at the end of Jan? Because there's no Prem fixtures last weekend in Jan, or is that
that'll be an FA Cup weekend?
That'll be the fourth round of
the FA Cup.
I thought it was the weekend after.
Yeah, so did I. I think it's between the 4th and the 7th of February.
Yeah. Well, it's like I think there's a weird date. I think there's a weekend where we haven't got a game.
Oh. Was there something that the?
I don't know if there's something else. I feel like there's something else on. But
the Asian players and the South American players are playing
That's what it is.
Something in
That's
friendlies in Europe or something.
Oh, okay.
This is when Klopp had his small competition sarcasm, which people jumped on. He then said, "Of course, and our lads are going to go and play in Brazil for a game."
Yeah. So what happens there? Like, say for argument's sake, Liverpool have to play Leeds, and Liverpool have, many internationals gone away that weekend. They go, "Oh well, this weekend fits." Would Liverpool have to play?
I'd assume they'd say no, because they say it's
it's a designated. It's
a designated friendly. Said it's not. Okay. You planned it, so
yeah, it's not just one they're making up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Macker says this is the first I've heard of it. Might be called off. Hope not bringing my lad over to see it. Macker, I hope it's not for your sake. And loads of people that will be heading over from Ireland and other areas to go and watch it. Macker, the only thing that's come out is that I think maybe in his press conference, or maybe talking to the written press after his press conference earlier, Mikel Arteta said he could not guarantee that Arsenal will be able to fulfil the fixture. He has I have the quote here, I'll find it for you. But he's basically saying that with a mixture of COVID injuries and African nations, they're facing a selection dilemma. I'll find the exact quote for you there just to make sure that I'm not talking out my arse, to be honest with you. Let me see. Oh, here it is. It says, Mikel Arteta admits there is no guarantee Arsenal will be able to play the League Cup semi-final against Liverpool on Thursday, as Arsenal are currently facing a selection crisis with a number of players injured on AFCON duty or having tested positive for COVID. So every player gets tested in the morning, don't they? So you're going to have to see. You're going to have to see what goes on there. So looking at the game itself, let's presume it goes ahead. Macro, I hope it does go ahead for you and others that might be heading to the game tomorrow night. But looking forward to it. Kev, we play at the weekend. I kept saying Crystal Palace earlier for some reason.
Yeah, we play Brentford at the weekend.
Weekend, Sunday.
Yeah.
So we play Thursday, we Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Is it a dilemma for Liverpool because you have got players that have missed some football because we didn't have a game last Thursday against Arsenal? We played the FA Cup and only so many of them played. Is it a dilemma for Klopp where he looks and goes, I might have to go a bit stronger here just to get minutes in the legs? Or does he just go with, a second tier or a mix and just go, listen, whatever happens. We need to be at our strongest come Sunday. I think it's a hard decision for him, Kev.
I think he's got to go as strong as possible without being reckless with any players who are coming back from injury. But I would play as many players that he plans to play against Brentford as possible, and then use the 5 subs to rest who he needs to rest in the game, irrespective of what position we are in the game. I don't want to say I couldn't care less about the League Cup, but the League Cup is a distant secondary importance to the Premier League, as far as I'm concerned. And as much as I like the League Cup, it's a very, very distant second to Brentford on Sunday. To me, that's the priority. That's the most important game. There's a lot of players there that need minutes in the legs, and especially with the front three that we're going to be lining up tomorrow, they haven't played together. They won't have ever played together apart from the odd training session here and there. They're going to need to build some kind of rapport in tomorrow night's game to carry on for the rest of this month. So the more minutes they get together, the better. The more minutes that Virgil and Konate or Matip, whichever one he decides to go with, gets, the better. The midfield needs to settle down and start, playing properly and start dominating games again. And the only way to do that is on the pitch. Now, I would go fairly strong tomorrow, and I wouldn't mind that, say, 60, 70 minutes, you start seeing the subs rolling then. But I wouldn't be using tomorrow night's game and playing 3 or 4 players from the youth academy, because there's no need, there's no point. You got the Brentford game, you got another game the following Thursday, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's like 3 games in 7 days. Yeah. These players are used to that, and they need to get that mentality back. We've not been in good form of late, so we need to get back on the horse. And tomorrow night's as good as any, especially against an Arsenal side that everyone is going to want to see us thump.
Who's everyone?
Every one of us.
Oh, okay.
I want to see. I couldn't give a shit what anyone else wants. I would love to beat Arsenal tomorrow and give them a right spanking, but at the same time, it's a means to an end tomorrow night for me. It's all about the players getting minutes and getting back a match sharpness. It's not about the League Cup for me.
Yeah, Laura Duffy says there the final of the League Cup is on February 27th. Champions League is back on February the 16th. FA Cup is February the 6th and the 7th. I would think the last week of Jan would be the last chance to play this. But Barry Devaney says the Premier League winter break is from the 23rd of January to the 7th of Feb. Obviously allowing for those. Internationals.
Money spinning friendlies.
Yeah, but I don't think it's up until the 7th, because I think from Friday the 4th to Monday the 7th is when Liverpool can play Cardiff. It hasn't been announced today, I don't think. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Conroy, there's 5 subs in this. I think that's important. Does Klopp nearly forget that this is a semi-final? And I don't mean that to be disparaging to the Cup, but what I mean by that is, does he look at it and go, I'm going to put out this 11 and I have these 5 in my head that I want to bring on at this point in the game, to have them, to make sure that, out of these 16 that I use, all of them have got minutes, all of them are fresh, and all of them are primed and ready to go for the Premier League game on Sunday, because that's where our bread and butter is, the Premier League. Is it a case of Klopp literally just writing off the fact of the semi-final and just having a plan in his head to get players back up to speed and back to a level that they want to be at? Because Sunday's a huge game. Every league game is huge now. Massive.
I think he probably has a plan in his head, but I'm kind of, for me, it's a semi-final. Like, I don't care if it's the Milk Cup or the Carling Cup, Champions League. It's a semi-final now, and I feel like we definitely need to look at it that way, especially what's happened of late, our form. I don't think we can afford to just kind of go in and minute plan this game when we're going to, obviously he'll have a plan in his head he's going to do, but for me, football doesn't work out like that. And I understand it'd be ideal to get players minutes in the game, but at the same time, I think it's very difficult to tell players going into a semi-final with maybe 1-2 games off a chance to go to Wembley and play in a final, to say, right, view it as an exercise to get minutes back in your legs. For me, I think it will be taken, well, I hope it's taken seriously with that level. And in an ideal world, maybe we're 2-0 up with 20 minutes to go or half an hour to go and you make the changes, but football doesn't always work out like that. And I do think there'll be a lot of tension in tomorrow's game, because I feel like there's definitely been blood, what's the word? I was going to say blood risen, but that's maybe the wrong word, in the last couple of weeks because of numerous things that have happened. So I do think it'll be quite a tasty affair. Yeah, but no, I think there'll be a lot of like animosity, and actually from the player side as well. I think there'll be a bit of tension in the crowd and on the players. So I feel like I really feel like that'll be the case, and possibly you might be able to plan it that way, but it doesn't always work out like that. That's all I'm saying.
No, it doesn't work out like that, because you're right. 25 minutes in, we could have an injury, we could have a sending off, we could have, anything could happen. Chris, what way do you think he goes? Without naming a team, what way do you think he looks at this? Because I know it's the League Cup, but still, like for me, I'll tell you how I feel about it. The next team to make a mistake between Man City and Liverpool is huge in the league. Man City make the next one, Liverpool are back in it. Liverpool make the next one, it's game over. Klopp has to be looking at that, regardless of what this is tomorrow night. And I get where Conor is coming from, but Klopp has to be looking at that.
Yeah, he does. I'm sort of between the two of you, as in, I think you do try and forget it's a League Cup semi-final in the sense of you look at the team you're playing, and this isn't the Arsenal, this isn't Chelsea or City we're playing. This is an our side that we've already beaten 4-0, and even then we didn't play our strongest 11. I think you look for an 11 and go, is that 11 good enough to beat them? And I think there'll be a couple of mix and match players, and they'll have to be, because I don't think everyone's going to be fit. So, like I said, I'll be surprised if Alisson starts, to be honest. And
yeah, so would
I. Because I think he'll start at the weekend, because he's only just come back to training, and they're always a bit careful with Alisson where they need to be. And also, we've got an able deputy there. You probably won't see Trent start because he's only just come back to training. But most of the other positions, I think you'll see first team players. Maybe not, if people say they're first ever, I think you'll see close to first team players. But I agree with Kev. I think you've got to get an hour out what you think the main front three is going to be for the weekend, because they've got to get some sort of minutes in them and get some sort of game in them. I mean, the Origi injury, it's typical of Origi. This is his opportunity to get a game, and he's fucking injured again. That's the frustration with him.
Yeah. Avo says 25 minutes in and the ref could blow the full-time whistle. That's
true.
Now. So,
do you guys think there's much choice though tomorrow with the actual options we have?
I think,
albeit in my head, I've kind of decided Trent's not playing and possibly Kelleher.
I think it's hard to work out. I think it's hard to work out as to who's available, because, like, if you take it from the weekend, and we do this, but I want to come back to Kev with who's available for Arsenal before we go into Liverpool. But if you look at the weekend, right? Yeah, Alisson is back in training and Trent is back in training. So there you have two, right? May not start because they're only back yesterday or today. We're not 100% sure. I think it was today, right? Van Dijk is available. Kanate is available. Tsimikas is available. Robertson is available. We don't know on Gomez. We don't know on Matip. Okay?
We do know Matip. Matip was on the bench, wasn't it, the weekend?
Oh, was he on the bench? Yes, he
was on the bench.
So
he didn't play.
Yeah, you're correct. You're right. And then when you go into midfield, you've seen the midfield they put out the weekend. Who was on the bench? Who could have been actually one of the positives, a proper positive last Thursday? Is he available? Sort of way. So it's hard to work out. You have to take this into mind as well. So there's like minutes and legs, getting players fresh, and then actually picking who's available. And then not only that, you go, he's not available now, but he will be available on Sunday, but he won't play tomorrow. So what do we do come Sunday? It's all over the place. It's all over the place. But we try pick a team for Liverpool in a little bit, but some of the decisions are going to be made from, regardless of what me and you say. I think, Kev, on the Arsenal side, they get beaten by Forest at the weekend in the cup, right? And I seen the lineup and I went, yeah, they've gone a bit weaker here in this lineup, and it's the cup, and that's what you expect. But it seems to be more of a case of they went with what they could go with, Kev. Like, what are we looking at names wise? And if anyone else wants to chime in on who's not available for Arsenal,
yeah.
But as of now, who's not available for Arsenal tomorrow?
As of now, I think this will be their 11. Depending on what happens with a couple of players. I think he'll go with Ramsdale and goal. Mm-hmm. If Tamayasu is past fit, he'll play. Mm-hmm. But there's a good chance he misses out.
Sorry, just before you go on, do Arsenal have a big game at the weekend?
Spurs.
Spurs,
yeah.
Okay, away.
Right.
Yeah.
They have Ben White, Gabriel, and probably Tierney.
Tavares? Or
No, Tierney.
Tierney. Well, Tierney would have it. Tierney won it. Didn't Tierney go? Did Tierney go off it or did he come on? I can't remember if he came on.
Came
I
on.
think
There's no way they're playing Tavares again after last time, because that was a
Yeah,
mistake last time. They played Tierney.
They'll play. Lokonga's the only fit centre mid they have, unless Granit Xhaka comes fit. Then you're looking at probably a 4-3-3. So it'd be Lokonga holding with Smith Rowe and Odegaard as your other two centre mids. You'd have Martinelli on the left wing, Saka on the right wing, and Lacazette up front.
Okay.
That's a strong 11.
Kieran B
That's
says,
a strong 11.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. That's assuming that Tomiyasu is fit, and that's assuming that Granit Xhaka isn't past fit. I mean, they're both going to be late decisions for them.
Okay, so Bonkers says Partey, El Neni, Aubameyang at the AFCON. Fair enough. Emile Smith-Rowe has a toe strain. He did it versus Nottingham Forest as Kieran B.
Yeah, but it depends on the severity of it. And
Gabriel is back from the suspension he picked up for that red.
Yeah.
Leno in goal for Arsenal. Reckon it's late.
I mean, they've got Kolasinac back, so that's a win.
Could I just add one potential? It might not happen. It probably won't happen. But they usually been playing a 4-2-3-1 as of late, and the press has been pretty good. To be honest, if you watch the Man City game, they've been quite intelligent pressing it. I mean, obviously, especially Martinelli and Odegaard sat on Rodri a lot. So to maybe stick with that, the way the formation have been playing in that shape, they may play. Is it Patino, Kev? Is it Charlie Patino? He played at the weekend as a kind of pivot.
Yeah, the only problem they'd have is who would they trust in that second holding mid, unless they went to a back three, or if they played the other. Yeah, because they Ben White in there and stick.
He did do it for Brighton. Brighton for a while kept playing Ben White centre mid.
But then, what day did he play Spurs?
Sunday.
I think it's a 4:30 game.
It's the main game.
So they're in the same boat as us, but they've a much bigger game, because that's a huge game in the race for top four. That's a huge game.
It is after Spurs tonight.
Yeah, Gabriel
Spurs
comes back.
Them.
Yus is asking, is Xhaka still suspended?
No, Xhaka's been out.
COVID, wasn't it?
It was COVID, yeah. It was Gabriel who was suspended, but he's back now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pepe is also at the AFCON, says Bejan. Yeah. I was only reading out what someone
doesn't play anyway.
I know you're going to say
but
that.
He's still an option. The commentator said he was missing versus Forest because of a toe strain. Xhaka had COVID for the FA Cup game. So we don't know.
Xhaka got an injury in November and never really got back right. And then he had the COVID issues. So it depends. I think Arteta was saying today, it depends on his test results that come back.
Mm-hmm.
That they were waiting on results for him maybe today or tomorrow. We don't know. But every which way you look at it, their 11 that they put out isn't going to be their ideal 11. It's not going to be their ideal shape, no matter which way they dress it up. It's not going to be for us either.
Well, Olivier says Arteta desperately needs a result at the weekend. I agree. He might sacrifice the first leg, hoping the damage is not fatal for the second leg, which is a good point. And I think both sides will look at it a bit like that, because Liverpool won't have any fear in going to the Emirates to play Arsenal in a second leg, even if it's 2-1 to Arsenal or 3-2 to Arsenal or 2-2, or Liverpool have a slight lead. Because I think what you're actually going to end up with is, I think you're going to end up with about a level of these teams tomorrow night that are similar. And what I mean by that is the amount of players you're missing on both sides that you would expect to start in a semi-final or a league game will be roughly the same, I think. And then when it comes to next week, it'll be a case of who's back and fling them all at it, that sort of way. But again, I
think we can go. I go the opposite. I think we can wrap this game up tomorrow night.
You could do, but
I honestly think we can.
So tell me this,
we've got to be a mentality right, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's not only that. Like, it's not like you're just planning for this game and this weekend. You have to remember we play next Thursday again.
Then we've got Palace away.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So we'd be away on the Thursday night to Arsenal, and we're away to Palace on the Sunday. Similar to this, because it's actually the exact same. We're home tomorrow and home on Sunday at 2:00, and we're away next Thursday and away on the Sunday at 2 o'clock. So it's the exact same stuff. Arsenal, of course, have got Spurs, and I think they've a couple of big games. Coming up. I remember reading over the last couple of days. But
If they've not got Chelsea sooner, I'm sure they've got Chelsea sooner.
I'll have a look now for you and just have a look, because I do remember when this was called off last week. One of their complaints was that they had games that were going to be squashed in together now, and they weren't.
We've got Burnley after the second leg.
Yeah, they've got Burnley. But
sorry,
the Chelsea away game on the 12th of February is being cancelled. That's a weird one. I don't know why that's cancelled.
I think I'm getting mixed up. I think I meant it was City then Spurs they had. I think that was the two big games they had, and that will obviously be on Sunday.
So, well, look, both clubs are in the same boat, and I suppose it's a case of who can we. More for Arsenal, it's going to be who can we play because who are we missing, and Liverpool, who can we risk because who's coming back, and looking ahead to the weekend as well. But that's not a bad side for Arsenal. But if Liverpool were to go strong against that, you'd worry about them, I think, at the back, and you'd worry about them certainly in midfield. But we'll have to wait and see. I think, do you know something? I think it's going to be a cracking game. I think it's going to be very open.
Looking forward to it.
We just hit over 100 likes, so try to get to 200 before we finish. We have about 30 minutes or so left. So if you want to hit the like button, go ahead and have a go. Right, Liverpool side. I think if. Fair play to either any you three if you pick me the right Liverpool side. Right? So I give us all a go to pick a side. Conroy, I'll go with you first, and let me know what you think will be the Liverpool side.
Sorry, Gav. Can you come back to me in 2 seconds? I've got a dog who's jumped in the room trying to get out.
No problem. You're being a
dog.
dog.
No, it's fine. He's away. He's away. He couldn't get out.
Did he find the cat? Did he find the cat?
No, they get on. They actually get on quite well. It's my dad's dog. It's a Boston Terrier. He's got out the room. It's fine. So my team, Liverpool team is. I'll go for Kelleher. I think Kelleher will play. If I missed something, is Nico Williams injured or got anything? Is there anything you guys are aware of? Because I couldn't see anything with Nico. So if Nico's available to play, I think it would be him. Failing that, I think it will be Trent.
Mm-hmm.
My centre backs, I think Matip, VVD, and then left back. It's a hard one actually.
You're going Matip.
Matip, VVD.
Okay.
And left back, I'll go for Shimikas.
Okay.
That was hers.
Yeah, and then my midfield three, I think, will be Henderson, Fabinho, and Jones.
Henderson, Fabinho, Jones. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And as I say, I think the front three picks itself for availability. I don't think you play Kay Gordon tomorrow. So for me, I think it's Jota, Firmino and Minamino. Probably Jota off the right, kind of moving what he done against Leicester when he came on. I would give a shout out to Dixon, Bonner and Morton. Obviously, they were very, very I was impressed with both of them in the FA Cup tie, but I think that'll be the midfield three.
Okay. And sorry, you have Minamino, Firmino and Jota.
Yep.
Okay. So that's a strong side. I don't know.
Front three wise, I think you have to be that strong. Like, can you see? I don't think you can play Kay Gordon tomorrow. Like, I think you still have to give the game. He's been really impressive, but I still think you have to.
Okay.
You need a front three that's going to lay a glove on him, and maybe Kay Gordon could. Don't get me wrong, but I just think it's maybe too much of a risk.
Okay. It's not a bad
He's been very impressive. Don't get me wrong.
It's not a bad side. I think with Jones after playing the FA Cup, probably gets another run to give him and get a run in his preferred position. Henderson's starting to worry me a little bit. I'm going to be honest with you. He's worrying me a little bit. But that's a good combination of Fabinho, Henderson there to let Jones do the business. The back four, yeah, I suppose the only thing I would say is, yeah, he might do that and then go Kanate at the weekend against Brentford.
I think he starts Kanate because Klopp likes a redemption story, and Van Dijk and Matip were shite against Brentford.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't head a ball, you know, and they were at fault for quite a few of the goals because they couldn't head a ball. So I think he'll want to start Van Dijk, Matip against Brentford to give them a little bit of a redemption story. Okay. He's done that with a few players in the past. So Chris, I think Kanate.
Right, well, I'll go to you then. Looking at that side, is there anything you change?
I think Kanate in for Matip, I think Robbo might get another run out because he's only played. I know he got a knock in the FA Cup, but he's only played one game in for 3.5 weeks. I know he's training, but and then I think that's it. I think the only thing we might see is I don't think it'll be a front three. It won't surprise me if players are like Jota and Minamino's a 2 until Firmino's drop almost like a number 10, just to invert it a little bit, just to give them something to guess about and also to flood the midfield.
Okay.
So they're probably the only 2 changes I'd probably make.
So something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So that's a bit diamondy, but Liverpool can just move one of them out left and one of them out right if they need to. Anyway. And Firmino will probably stay up top in the middle, and Jota and Minamino can go wide. It's no issue there. Kev.
Yeah, I've got the same back 4 and Kelleher, Fabinho, Henderson, and Ox.
Okay.
I don't think Minamino plays. I think Jones plays wide left, and Bobby through the middle and Jota right.
So you don't think Minamino plays?
Nope.
Okay.
I think that'd be harsh on him. That
it might be, but I just think Curtis will. I think Curtis offers him more options, more physicality, and more flexibility to drop into midfield if needed, to push wide if he wants to, and I think Ox in that free role that Thiago plays is. I think I like him on the left hand side, to be honest. Coming in his right, and he likes playing against Arsenal.
Yeah, the only thing with Minamino is he scored in every round. I think if he scores in the next round, doesn't he set a record? It just seems to be a competition that he seems to have a bit of a flair for.
I think it'd be an option off the bench if you wanted to take off whoever. If you wanted to take Jota off for a rest, on the hour or something, it's an option. But I like Jones further up. I watched him play for England under 21s at the Euros last year when he played wide right, and he did really well. He was very good against Portugal.
He did well in when he came back from injury against Milan at home. Yeah. When we got ourselves 3-2 up, he was very mature, playing the wide left role, just keeping the ball. So he can play it. I agree with Gav, though. I think his better position is still centre mid.
I think so in the long term, but as for the minute, I think what Conroy was saying about the 4-4-2 with a diamond, you can still do that with Ox playing at the tip of a diamond and Jones dropping back into central midfield 3.
Yeah.
With Jota and Firmino up front. You can do that. Or there's so many different variations you can do with Jones in the lineup that it just gives you options. I think Robertson definitely plays because I don't know if he's available for the weekend.
Yeah, he is.
So, is he?
Yeah. The last game with Bam was Chelsea.
Was it Chelsea, was it?
Yeah, and he played in the FA Cup, so he is available.
I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go Alisson goal. I think Trent plays. I think Kanate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Jones, Henderson, Minamino left, Firmino up top, and Ox down the right. I don't know. I don't think he risks Jota. I think he has to give Firmino time because he's been coming back. But you have to remember what Jota stands for Liverpool over the next month. And if he's going to miss a game, I think this might be it. And I could be wrong. He could go out and go, no, I'm fucking everything I have at them. And like Kev said, just try go 2, 3, 4 goals, which I don't think Liverpool will. Score 2, 3, 4 goals. I think it'd be a lot tighter going into the second leg than some people might think. I just think you have to wrap Jota up in cotton wool, and you play him when you absolutely need him in this for this next 3 weeks or so. Anyway, you have to play Firmino. Minamino scored in every round, as I said, and Ox needs to get playing. The only other option he could actually do Ox instead of Henderson in midfield if he wanted, and put K Gordon in. But we'd have to wait and see. But for me, I'm not. I know it's a semi-final. But could you imagine losing Jota tomorrow and saying he's out for the next 3 or 4 league games? You'd fucking pull your hair out.
No, but he did bring him on against Leicester though, Gav, when we were chasing it. So and he knew they were going away at AFCON. So he's willing to roll the dice. You know what I mean?
I just think if he gave Jota an hour, he is.
I could see him doing similar to what he done in the last round, where he brings Jota on at half time or brings him on 60.
Yeah,
because you have 5 subs. So I think he's going to try. He could probably mix up a bit more and even go Morton or something. But I think what he's I think he's definitely looking for 15 players that are going to play and be involved against Brentford getting minutes tomorrow night. What way he does it, I think, I'm not too sure, but it still means you're going to need 5 or 6 mixed in with all them to make that happen, and I think that's where it might come from.
I mean, every which way you look at it, any of those lineups, any of those 4 lineups are good enough to get a result.
Yeah.
So it's just a case of coming through the match unscathed, and
as long as we don't play like Leicester. That was the problem.
Yeah, but
because the Leicester away game, it was Leicester missing this, Leicester missing that. They had less rest than us, and
I'm convinced the mindset
we were
all
dog
wrong.
shit. But,
the mindset for that game reminded me of a game years ago against Swansea when we felt we went, and it wasn't just Swansea, but it was games like that we felt entitled to win because we were Liverpool. And that's what it felt like with the Leicester game.
And that's what we haven't done in a long time.
Exactly. And that's why it felt so alien. It felt weird watching it because it just wasn't right. And they can't allow that to, they had to nip that in the bud straight away. And that's why I hope that tomorrow night we just see a performance. If we see a performance, we win handy. Okay. Macker gets to go and watch a great game.
Yeah, hopefully he does. Look, taking everything into consideration, and the lineups you think may happen, Conroy, what way do you see the game going?
What, my score prediction or just
score prediction
general?
and in general, because like Arsenal, at the end of the day, Arsenal are approaching this as we have the second leg at home. Now I know away goals don't count, but you know you have to take their approach into consideration as well.
Yeah, especially we don't have a great record at Emirates as well. That's something I don't know if you mentioned that as well. Like last season was anomaly going there and winning with ease. Usually we play well and never win. It's actually infuriates me because we played against some very poor Arsenal teams and we've never really taken them to the sword at the Emirates. But I do think the way tomorrow, especially Arsenal's record, I think what you said being tight, I kind of agree with that because I feel like it is a narrative that if they're playing a weaker team and we've got a few strong players, we'll smash them. But I do think tactically Arteta might look at that and not go with the 4-2-3-1 as we'd said, Kev, and might look at a way just to kind of nullify us, possibly playing a free at the back or something like that, something similar, and then rely on their counter-attack. However, like if they don't have Smith Rowe, I think that's a big miss because he's been superb for them. And unlike the Leicester game, Leicester had so much pace up front, and it was like our young and experienced maybe players, as soon as they made one mistake, bang, they were in. I don't see it being like that. I could see it being quite cagey, but I do think we'll have enough. So for me, I think we'll win 2-0 tomorrow.
Okay. Dylan O'Rourke is just back from the Astro. He said, what did I miss? Nothing. Fuck off. We haven't done that. 50 minutes here just looking at each other. But we have DM'd you an email with regards to something, Dylan, so if you can take a look at them and get back to us, it would be great. Chris, what way do you see it going?
Well, just quickly seems to flash up on Twitter say Klopp's hinted Alisson might start, so shows what the fuck we know.
Well, I had Alisson in between.
Yeah, I meant the other three. The three of us didn't.
Kelleher must be getting annoyed though. I've got to just leave a comment on that. That would be two Champions League games he's not played them in. He plays well in the last game in the FA Cup, and always good when he comes in. And it seems like, just that must be annoying. That's another League Cup game, another game that you'd think he'd be getting, he doesn't get.
Yeah, but it's all about rhythm for players.
I know, Gav, but I think Kelleher will look to leave soon, especially with the form. I know you mentioned the other night in the show of what's the Irish goalkeeper? I say, is it Bazunu or
yeah.
He's superb, and literally Kelleher's thinking, well, I'm not even getting rubber mark games that are like a Champions League away to Milan that I can, it's great for my career. So I could see him look to leave soon, actually. Especially that would be another reason tomorrow. That would, and if you're in his position, that must be annoying. I understand Alisson's is one of the best keepers in the world, no doubt, but there is certain games you'd expect to play, and tomorrow I think would be one of them.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on any of that. But I'm just, you have to plan for Brentford, and I think part of this game is going to be used as a plan for Brentford. And what I mean by that is, it's not a reflection of Kelleher's ability. It's a case of get Alisson in and get him a game in before we go away and we play Brentford. Sort of way, because he was brilliant against Chelsea. Chelsea, and he's played that, and he's played the FA Cup. But I agree with you. I think this summer could be a big summer for Kelleher as to what he does.
Because with his feet as well, Gav, he's shown how good he is, especially against Chelsea, and that his competency on the ball has improved so much as well. So for teams who want to start from the back, I think he'd be a very good signing. So I could see that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. But look, I'm not bothered which one plays. You know, I'm confident enough. I'm confident in both of them. So I'm a bit neutral on that. I just think with a game in 72 hours, I think Alisson gets the nod. Kev, how do you see it going?
I think it'll be tight for 20 minutes, half an hour. Look, let's not kid ourselves. Forest game aside, Arsenal up front have been pretty good ever since they ditched Aubameyang.
Yeah, I take Saka tomorrow.
Yeah. Saka and Martinelli are really good. Odegaard, Smith Rowe, very good going forward. I don't know. I think they'll struggle going the other way. I think you can catch them on the turn. Lokonga he's just not it. You know, he's miles off of what's required at this level. They're decent enough at the back, but Tomiyasu I still am really impressed with. I think he's a very, very good acquisition for them. He's been, for me, one of the signings of the season. I think it'll be tight for half an hour, and then hopefully we get a grip on the game. You know, just get through the first half hour without conceding, without any silly mistakes, get on the ball, dominate the ball. I'm looking forward to actually seeing Bobby and Jota play together. You know, because I think their link-up play could be really, really good and really important. Bobby needs the minutes. You know, it was nice to see him off the bench the other night, but he's coming back off an injury as well. So they're not going to want to take too many risks with him. But anything that... What was it? Someone called him Lego head. Arteta. Anything that sees him at the end of the game shouting and screaming and bawling at fourth officials, and I'm happy. 3-0 will do me nicely.
Okay, Sam Tandy says Klopp said this competition is Kelleher's, but Alisson may play due to the situation we're in, players needing minutes, etc. And Marcus Barnes with Super Chat says, Conroy, Klopp hinted at starting Alisson due to him being out with COVID and needs rhythm. Yeah, so it's
fair enough, but they are mounting
up
though. If he's saying it's Kelleher's tournament, they're mounting up, and if I'm just looking at it from Kelleher's point of view, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised as what you said, Gav, because that's a few times now. Yeah, but I get that, but let's be honest, contracts are just to protect your asset, and I feel like he's getting quite a good reputation.
Yeah, I don't think this summer is going to be the one for Kelleher. I think the next summer.
Yeah.
The next summer.
Well, Alisson signed the deal as well. You know, but Kelleher will be signing a deal like anyone saying, right, where am I going? You know, if I sign a 5-year deal, what's happening over the next year, 2 years? He'll want to know that, you know, and especially when you have Alisson in front of you. So
you might have a case where, not next season, but the season after, Pataluga takes over as number 2 and Kelleher goes out on loan.
He could do, but I still think Kelleher.
I think he'd want to be a number 1 eventually somewhere.
I think he has a massive chance of being a number 1 at Liverpool when Alisson goes.
Yeah, if it's a case of we let him go with a buyback option at a nominal buyback. So whoever say you sell him for 20 million and you buy him back at 27.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when Alisson goes, there's your tailor-made replacement who's got 2 or 3 years Premier League experience at whatever club he decides to go to.
I think he's
still benefit long term for it.
That's a good point, Kev.
I think he's just the trajectory he's on is just perfect. You know, he's not being overblown. He's not being like completely ignored. It's just a lovely trajectory he's on, and he just looks like a prototype of what Alisson does. He's not the same build. He's not the same. Doesn't look like anything like him. But the way he tries to play the game with Liverpool is like a prototype of Alisson, and that's only for me. It's because he hasn't been loaned out. He spent 3 years now with Alisson. By his side.
Yeah, one of the most improved players I've seen. Like that game against Arsenal 5-5, he was terrible. Him and Emi Martinez were both shocking.
Yeah.
And then literally the space of 6 months later, everyone's like, listen, this is when Adrian was ahead of him. Maybe not everyone's expectations, but no one thought Kelleher was good enough. He comes on, I think, against Ajax, is it? Ajax possibly? Yeah. He starts that game. His feet are amazing. You can tell he'd worked on that. What improvement, honestly. Yeah. Ironically, similar to Emi Martinez, because Emi Martinez was very poor in that game as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we win 3-1, by the way.
3-1 from Chris. Kev, you had?
I had 3-0. I just wanted to say something, actually. I mean, you look at Bazunu and Kelleher. In the next 5 years, it's conceivable that Ireland has two absolute world-class goalkeepers.
Yeah.
I honestly think Bazunu is top tier. He's going to be a top-tier goalkeeper. He will be number one at Man City. Or he will be a number one at a top club somewhere down the line. He's very good.
I think he's a model for a boy back.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
And him and Kelleher will be fighting it out for the Ireland shirt for the next decade, 15 years.
Yeah.
I can't see anyone coming close to them, and it's a shame we don't have that luxury with a striker.
Yeah, or a
you know, it would be lovely to have that luxury if you had that argument over a forward. But at the end of the day, to have the potential of world class players that you know are coming, it's something that bodes well for the future. And I'm delighted for Kelleher. I want nothing more than for him to be number one at Liverpool for a long, long time. But I think there's going to have to be some manoeuvring to get him there.
Yeah, and look, it's one of those where, for me, like someone said there earlier, and it's a good point. Most teams have really good backup goalkeepers. We should be the same, and I suppose that's a good way of looking at it. You know, even because he's so good, we shouldn't be just looking to get rid of him. But I think the biggest thing in his career has been the fact that he hasn't been loaned. But he might get to a stage where he's not that he's learned everything he can, but he's completed the Alisson course, if you know what I mean. And now he has to. The only thing that he's missing is actual experience and game. Yeah,
pressure.
And that's where he goes away and does that. And listen, he's still very, very young. You know, what age is Kev and Kelleher?
I think he's 21 too, something like that.
Right, okay. So he could easily stay at Liverpool for another year, go away on loan, you know, go on a 2-year loan somewhere and come back in 3 years time. Alisson probably wants a different challenge and he walks straight in, he's Liverpool's number one goalkeeper. That could happen, absolutely. So I think I'd love to see him stay because I think
he's 23.
Yeah, I think
he's 23. Yeah,
but he still has 15 years left in him. You know what I mean?
In terms of a goalkeeper, that's like an 18-year-old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think they are looking at him as the next number one. Just the way they've kept him and the way they've looked at to nurture him and stuff like that. I genuinely believe that they're doing that. But then again, could be wrong. Alisson could walk out the door in a year's time and we could sign someone for 40 million and Kelleher's still sitting there. But that's just my opinion.
I think that would just be when Alisson leaves would be the crucial factor in that. If that's in a couple of years' time or
he's extended now
whenever.
to 2025, hasn't he? 2026 maybe. But you don't know. Anything could happen. But
goalkeepers is a strange one because it's like some just keep going on. Like, you know what I mean? It's like go on longer and longer. And you look at Buffon, for example.
Alisson comes across to me the sort of guy that, you know, he's at Liverpool 3 years now, isn't he? Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
It's nearly 4. It'd be 4 in the summer, wouldn't it? He was signed the summer of 18, wasn't he? Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so when we signed Alisson, he was 25, but he'd only done a year at Roma as number one. So he got his break at 24. So, you know, in terms of goalkeeper, he has been like a number one goalkeeper for a long time, really. You know, when he's talking
I kind of see Alisson as at some stage you could just turn around and go, listen, from your family, I'm going back to Brazil. I don't want another club in Europe. I'm going back to Brazil because he does strike me as that sort of guy that is loves his home and loves going home to it. So, but we'll have to wait and see. That's a discussion for another day. I don't know how we've got there. I think Liverpool win by the odd goal. I don't know what that is, but I think it might be the odd goal. I think, you know, if Arsenal are going to play that team that are there tomorrow, just threaten them. It's fairly settled at the back as well. It's the midfield that might be the issue, but you would hope as an Arsenal fan that they would come and go, listen, we're not going to be as open as we have been in the past, and we've been forced into this. We're going to be tight and we're going to be compact, and we look for Saka, Martinelli, Lacazette, or whoever to nick one at the other end. I'll go Liverpool by the odd goal, 2-1.
I'm looking forward to it.
I think it could be higher score than that. I think it could be like a 3-2. I have a feeling in me that it's going to
5-4.
Yeah, no, I think it could be a high scoring game. I do. I think it could be one of those that could be tight and then it'll just explode. And it'll be just everything will go out the window.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Kitchen sink stuff, yeah.
Mo Salah. We had some stuff from Klopp earlier going, listen, chill the fuck out. It's a normal situation. He wants to stay. We want him to stay. It's positive. It's a normal, you know, this is the way it goes. We're very positive and stuff like that.
Based what you said 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's the second time he's batted stuff away. We're gonna have a little chat about this for 5 minutes, and then we're out of here. But if you have anything random you want to ask us, go ahead, throw it at us, and then we'll try answer it before we leave. But just quickly on it, Chris, where do you sit on this? Are you just relaxed about it? Because I'm open and saying it's the middle of January. I'm fucking far from happy at the fact that we could go beyond this transfer window, and Salah is still sitting there with no contract.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping it might have been done by now, but realistically, you're probably not going to hear anything now until at the earliest, mid-late Feb, because he's in AFCON. So they're not going to announce it until he's back from the African Cup of Nations. So you're probably looking at end of Feb. You know, I think when you get to April and it's still not signed, that's when you get worried. Because I'm with Kev. I don't think you go into the summer with him 1 year in his contract. I think Liverpool will look to sell him. Okay. Don't want that to happen, but I still think it gets done. I'd be surprised because he's such an asset to us on and off the pitch. I mean, look, whether you like the owners or don't like the owners, and even if you think the owners only care about making money, Mo Salah makes them a lot of money off the pitch. Commercially, you know, I hate this as I say, but he's a brand. You know, he's on GQ magazines. He's quite well known. He's getting quite well known now in America and stuff like that. You know, that's growing by association. Liverpool's eyes, which being association makes Liverpool more money, which helps FSG. So he is an asset to them commercially, just as much as he is on the pitch. So I think they will get it done. I think they'll find a way around doing it. The stuff that's coming out at the moment where he says, "I want to stay. It's not in my hands." Well, it is. You can force issues sooner. No, but also the I'm not asking for unreasonable demands and things like that. That's also an agent painting your stall out, and we all know this. If it goes tits up, I'm not the bad guy. It's them. You know, which to all players and clubs do this. This is the dance. You know, I've seen Real Madrid do this. I've seen United go through this even when they're at their peak, where best players did re-sign, but there was all this bollocks for 6 months to a year.
Laura Duffy says commercially Mo has opened up a lot more avenues. Lakers teams were waiting to clear some wages in the summer, like Milner. Captain Sal says we will be positive until we are waving him goodbye to PSG. He signs on the 34th of January, says Mr. St. Clair. Edward Denham reckons FSG can't afford to give him a new deal. Or they can absolutely afford to give him a new deal.
They can. The myth that Liverpool have, the myth that Liverpool have no money is a very good myth that the owners have put out there. Liverpool have money. They don't have City level money, but they have enough money. The two, as we were talking last night, me and Kev, they're too risk averse. That's the problem.
Well, I think it's a bigger risk not to sign him
than
it is to sign him. Kev, comfortable on it?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right until March, April, and then I'll start getting worried. It's one of the look. This is going to be. I said it last night, and this is going to be the biggest contract that Liverpool Football Club have ever given anyone in our history. And at the minute, all of the contracts are incentive-based. You can tell by the size of the club's wage bill that we're not stingy. We're one of the highest wage payers in world sport. So this isn't about money. This could be about image rights. This could be about a percentage of a Nike deal. We don't know. And Mo's agent isn't going to tell you, and the club definitely ain't going to tell you. But when you've got a player that says, I want to stay, and you've got a manager saying, I want him to stay, and I'm completely relaxed and chilled. I got enough things in my life to be stressed out about. I'm not going to get stressed out about Mo Salah, not until the time comes that nothing is done. Because I said, I'm adamant that if it goes into the summer, he will not be allowed to do a genie. He will not be allowed to walk for nothing.
No, I don't think so. Jonathan?
You could do that with Sadio to an extent. You could do it with Bobby, definitely. You can't do it with Mo. With Mo Salah, it's just not possible. So something's going to have to be done between now and the end of the season.
Delvin says the more Salah talks about it, the more I'm getting nervous of being sold in the summer. Well, Salah spoke about it 3 months ago. 2 months ago, it's coming out now. Barry Devaney says Liverpool have a net spend of minus since 2018. That's irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant. It just means they sell well. You know, you have to look at the squad they have And have they bought well? Yes. Have they sold well? Yeah, 100% they've sold well. Net spend is fucking irrelevant. I don't know why people keep going on about it. It does not matter what your net spend is.
It's a nice stick to be dealing with. That's
you see, the thing with net spend is that people go, 50 million net spend. If we had a 400 million pound net spend, people would be giving out the squad's not good enough for what we spent. We don't sell well enough. You can go round in circles with this. The squad we have cost a lot of money. The fact that we've sold players for good money is grand. And people go, we only signed this because of the Coutinho money. We only moved because of the Coutinho money because he fucked and wanted to get out of the club. It's not like we threw him out the door. I just don't agree with the net spend thing at all, Barry. I really, really don't. Because the way I look at it is I go through our squad and go, good player, great player, world-class player, blah, 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 blah. I don't care how much we're signed for. I don't give a fuck. Salah was 34 million. I don't care. Right, and that's not me going, it's not my money, because that's a ridiculous thing to say as well. But when it comes to net spend, right, if trust me, if Liverpool had a net spend of 350 to 400 million since 2018, people would tell you that they haven't done enough with that money and we don't sell well enough. So no matter what you do, someone will find a problem. And again, that's not me defending FSG, because I'm telling you, if you don't put this man down to a deal worth 80 million over 4 years, or whatever it may be, it's the hill they will die on. And I'm telling you that now, because there's only so much people will take, and there's only so much reasoning you can see on what they're doing. But for me, I'll put it this way: risk averse is what you said, Chris. The thing with this is, if you sell Salah, you're getting 50 million for him in the summer, because nobody's touching him, right? Someone is coming along going, sit where you are, take the fucking money you have, and you were meant to get an extra 100 grand a week. We'll give you that when you're finished up. We'll actually give you that, and we'll throw you 40 million for signing. So he won't want to go anywhere. Do you know what I'm saying? And the risk of having someone go for 50 million or free, and then you have to, for the sake of paying him 80 million, and then you have to go and find somebody that will give you the numbers Mo Salah gives you. There's no one in the world giving you the numbers that Mo Salah's giving you. Nobody is giving you them numbers. It's as simple as that. Messi used to, Ronaldo used to, Mbappe doesn't give you the numbers, right? Haaland is ridiculously good, but he will not give you them goals and assists that Salah gives you. You have to pay for that player, and then if he's that fucking good, you're probably paying him what Salah would want anyway. So it makes no fucking sense to me at all. But I'm confident that will happen, but I am a bit edgy that it's going on this long. But I think there's a number there. I think there's a number there, and Jonathan says according to an Egyptian journal, Salah wants 420 grand a week. I don't think it's that high, but I think there is a number there, and they've basically went, listen, that's the number. It's not out of this fucking world. Go and meet it and get it sorted. That's what I think.
Me and Kev talk about, he's probably earning close to that with his bonuses anyway. He just wants it as a down payment rather than an incentivized payment.
Yeah. So look, we'll have to. Ali says it's war if FSG sell. I think they let him go. I think any trust in FSG that you had, you would have huge doubts over them. Huge doubts over them. Sorry, Conroy, what do you think?
Well, no, I was just going to say I agree. I think I'm okay with it now, to be honest. I think March, April time is when you start to get slightly worried. And to be honest, guys, like you say, Chris, you sell them, but let's be honest, this is easy for me to say, but 50 million or free, like, yes, you take the money, but in general, it's just the absolute...
You're not going to replace it, are you?
Lose situation, because 50 million does fuck all. Like, that's unfair to say. But for what you're looking to replace, it's literally... It's not, unless you pull the rabbit out of the hat, but really you're not going to get, there's no way you're going to get that. So really you're getting money, but it's just a horrible situation to be in. What I would say, and I've said this a few times, I think we're fortunate. I think FSG are fortunate that we're in an era right now where maybe a circumstance where Madrid will spend some money, but kind of taking it easy, Barcelona, mess, because usually if this was 10 years ago, they would definitely be, even 5 years ago, there would be that kind of put the pressure on. But because that's not the case, it's just my personal opinion. I think FSG have been allowed this type of limbo where it's not been signed. I feel like in other eras that there'd be a lot more pressure from other teams. Yes, people say PSG, I think that could happen. But I feel like the two Spanish giants having a bit of downtime now has definitely been fortunate for FSG. And I do think it'll get sorted, but let's be perfectly honest, it's really a no-brainer, because whatever way you cut it, say it's 420. I don't agree with that, but do you know what? You can sometimes have to put certain things aside, because the amount it's going to cost you to replace them, just pay the money. Genuinely just pay it. It's really not one of these things, because even if it is say 420, you've got some players getting 600 grand a week, 500 grand a week, so it's not out the realms of possibility. It just needs to be sorted out, and I think it will be, guys. But I do agree that what is it, the straw that broke the camel's back? I think it'd be more than that. It'll be more than that, but that would definitely happen. But it's just nonsensical because you talk about you try to make financial sustainability, but there's no way. Doesn't matter if you get 200 million. You could easily, that wouldn't replace. It's not like you can't quantify. So say like you mentioned Messi, Ronaldo, even Mbappe, or Haaland, who are very close to that, you could still get them, and they might not hit those numbers in the Premier League. So it's nonsensical to me.
Mr. Sinclair says that net spend is part of the formula. Sell to buy. Origi is a good example. That's a lazy explanation in regards to net spend being not important. Now, hold on a minute. Sell to buy happens everywhere, but it's used in a different context when you want to bring an argument forward with regards to transfers. I'm not for 1 second telling you that FSG are perfect at what they do. Not for a second. I'm not telling you that Klopp is perfect for what every time he does anything, because I don't think he's perfect at all. I think he's too stubborn at times. I think he's too loyal to players at times, and I think he perseveres where he should just go and say, listen, I've had enough of this, and I'm going to get rid of players, right? Net spend, right, can be used as a tool for any argument you want. If Liverpool's negative net spend, okay, I'm going to tell you we don't spend enough. Okay? If Liverpool's net spend is 300 million, I'm going to tell you Liverpool don't sell very well. That's all it is. That's all it is. And the funny thing is, right, we've got into a thing now where the more net spend you have, the more impressive you are. And the more you actually get away with, right? Manchester United, I would say, have a net spend of, I would say, over 250 million in that time since 2018. I'd say it's actually probably well more than that, right? And where are they? Where are they? This is the obsession with money now. The obsession. And listen, don't get me wrong. It's a humongous part of football. A humongous part of football. But the obsession with how much have we spent is madness to me. It's absolute madness to me. At the end of the day, I don't walk into Anfield on a Saturday, a Sunday, a Tuesday or a Wednesday for a Champions League game and sit down and go, I don't know what way this game will go because the net spend. I don't give two fucks about the net spend. But I know going in that I'm really happy with the team we have. Could it be better? Absolutely. But listen, come here and I tell you, if we sold Nico Williams tomorrow for 55 million quid and brought in a striker for 35 million quid and that striker, okay, scored 20 goals next season, are you going to tell me that the net spend is a fucking issue? That we're still in negative? You would want us to spend 90 million on a striker to score 20 goals just so you can say that the net spend is negative. This is business at the end of the day. We're all football fans. We all want to watch football, enjoy it, watch our team win. But at the end of the day, this is a fucking business. There's no other way of looking at it. And FSG are in no way perfect. This will be a massive thing for FSG. This sort of thing is a huge thing. Like, it's one of the big. It's probably the biggest decision they're going to make in their 12 years now. Well, it'll be 12 years. It's just gone 11 years since he took over Liverpool. It's going to be the biggest decision they have ever made, in my opinion. And I include fucking Super Leagues, ticket prices. This is the biggest decision they've ever made. But at the end of the day, if Salah stays, right, and they commit 80 million quid to him over 4 years, nobody cares about what Liverpool have spent, right? And the Coutinho stuff is one that's brought up all the time. That man wanted to leave Liverpool Football Club. He wanted to leave. We didn't throw him out the door for 140 million so we could sell to buy. We didn't do that.
We just rinsed Barcelona.
That. Suarez went for 75 million because he bit a fella at a World Cup after we backed him over biting somebody else. He wanted to get out. This is what happens all the time. You know what I mean? And people go on, net spend. These players wanted out. There's nothing you can do. When's the last player Liverpool sold that they actively went out and sold a player? And don't give me Fernando Torres either, because Fernando Torres wanted out of Liverpool, and it was well known he wanted out of Liverpool.
You handed transfer request in.
Yeah, so there you go. It's all this stuff of we sell. You know what I mean? It's they do sell, but they sell well. And when they actually get put in positions, i.e. Coutinho, Suarez, Torres, they sell well, and they replace well. But if people want to be out there and go, we sold such and such for 100 and we bought this fella for 200, right? The net spend is great. What? No. And you can't bring that into your argument about the owners. You can't. They do. What you see on the pitch is good. Can it be better? Yeah, but net spend means fuck all. If Liverpool go out in the summer and you want a right back as a backup, you want two centre midfielders and you want a striker, and they go out and they spend 100 million quid and give them 4 players, and Liverpool win a title next season, right? Is anyone going to turn around and give a fuck how much they cost? Did anyone care in 2020 when they won the league how much the players cost, how much the net spend was? Nobody gave 2 fucks. Nobody gave 2 fucks. And and the funny thing is, the lazy argument in all this is not from people that you'd think are making excuses. The lazy argument is when you turn around and you start quoting net spends, right? Has this player performed? Maybe not. Did he make a mistake? Yeah, everyone fucking does, right? But trust me, if you get rid of Naby Keita during the summer for 35 million and you bring a fella in for 25 and he plays better than Naby Keita, are we all going to kick up a fuss because we're another 10 million in negative? No, we're not. We're not. It's as simple as that. But look, I think it's absolutely madness. I really, really do. I am, and for me, I want Liverpool to be the best they can. And at times they have to go out and spend beyond what they've usually spent. They're a self-sufficient entity, but sometimes you have to go and go, you know what, we just have to do this. Like Alisson, like Van Dijk, and don't tell me that was off the Coutinho money either, because they were trying to sign Van Dijk 3 months before Coutinho decided he had his back was hurting. All right, so look, it's just enjoy watching Liverpool. You can have your reservations about the owners. You can have reservations about sometimes what the manager does. That's absolutely fine. But at the end of the day, what you're watching at Liverpool right now is the best you've seen in 30 years. It's as simple as that. It's the best you've seen. Is there problems in it? Yeah, there absolutely is. But at the end of the day, they can be sorted. But don't be putting in numbers on it. Don't be putting amounts on it as to how much that would satisfy you. Because Jota is 40 million. If you go out and spend someone for 65 million and he does what Jota does, you can't just say, yeah, that's way even better because it's more money. Just, you can't. Sorry, lads. Kev, anything else before we go?
No, you covered it, mate. Okay. That was really good. Do you know what? That was probably the best monologue I've heard from anyone about FSG and transfer policy and net spend in a long, long time. Fair play.
Anytime I hear someone say net spend, I'm just going to think of that monologue. So that's pretty good.
And it needed saying.
Don't get me going again on it.
But it needed saying.
It does. I agree with it. I agree. It was good.
It's too easy to jump on the bandwagon of, we don't spend X, Y, and Z. When we do something well, the only thing that I'd say is we're not ruthless enough when it comes to getting players out the door. There are certain players who are still in the squad who needed to be moved for the sake of their own careers and for the sake of us.
But the thing is, though, which people don't want to say because it doesn't fit the narrative, is that's probably more the manager than the ownership and the model, because that Klopp's greatest strength is also his greatest weakness, which is he's very loyal to players, and he'll back his players. But there are times where there are certain players he's backed too much, and you've gone you really should have moved him on sooner, but he doesn't.
Well,
and you kind of have to take the rough with the smooth there.
Mr. Sinclair says, and by the way, that wasn't a rant on Mr. Sinclair, it was just his comment that come up. But he says, we broke 2 world records inside 4 months for a centre-back and goalkeeper. Have we done it after inside 4 months? My point is, we have the money when we need it. That's my issue. We don't unless we sell someone.
And I think that's going to come this summer, because this summer, with Milner going, with Nico wanting to go.
But hold on.
This summer we're going to have to do it.
Who has left this club? Right? Who has left this club where they went off and they were better? Now, I'm talking about players that we actively sold from this club, that we wanted out and we kicked them out the door for a load of money, right? Because we wanted to buy somebody else. And who has gone off and lit the world up?
Very few. You can
say that we wanted out the door.
Can't think of any in the Klopp.
Not in the modern era, no.
Aspas.
Right.
There you go. Aspas. But he's literally a Celta Vigo legend.
It's not but that's not on the Klopp though. We're saying,
I'm just saying the last one is probably Aspas.
Yeah,
and Luis Alberto.
And people are saying about the summer and stuff. I agree with you. I think it does need. I think it needs 3 or 4 in the summer, just to refresh it. And you will have to get players out. And listen, I don't think it'd be a negative thing in the summer if you want to go down that route of what we spend against what we bring in, because I think the players we look to get rid of are on a downward spiral, and they will have to put their money where their mouth is. And that's where it came from the media in the summer. 2022 is the year Liverpool are looking to revamp the squad. But let's see if they do it. And by all means, if we get to the end of the summer and they haven't done it, and you're going into another season going, these are fucking still here, or we've let 2 go and we haven't brought anyone in, absolutely go fucking mental over it. But don't do it if we sell these 4 players for 100 and sign 4 for 80. And because once they perform, who gives a fuck? James Milner's walking around there after 5 years at Liverpool. He's won a league. He's won a European Cup. He's one of the most respected professionals going. He didn't cost us a penny. He costs a lot in wages, but who gives a shit? Wages don't matter. You know what I mean? Not in this day and age. Wages are an afterthought, and that's where the Salah thing comes in. 80 million in wages for Salah. You know, if you said to me tomorrow, I'll give you Salah for free, but he's going to cost you 80 million in wages, you'd be bleeding, bundling him in the back of a van, and you'd be getting to Liverpool as quick as you could. That's the thing. You know what I mean?
You drop the phone and you'd be getting the first flight.
Oh, listen, you'd be all over him. Ashley L says, I love when Gav says we're going to talk about this for 5 minutes, and then goes on a passionate rant for 20. I've absolutely triggered. It must be the jumper I'm wearing tonight. It must be.
It's the fairy washing up. It's the fairy liquid in the washing machine is what doing that. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
no, Gav, you've been absolutely electric.
No, look, it's just something that, you know, I just don't see, despite me being quite aggressive and annoyed over it, I don't see why it takes up so much of our time. You know, by all means, look at what you need, what you don't need, what you could get, what you don't get, but you don't need to put numbers on it. You simply don't. You know what I mean?
No, it's all about performance and I mean, you look at Salah. Is Salah been massive value for 34 million? Yeah. If you look at the value of what we paid out for transfers and what they've returned, we haven't overpaid for anyone. You know, is Virgil worth what we paid for him? Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, Kev, negative net spend since 2018, right? Negative since 2018. So if you look at the players that have left the club since 2018, that we actively got rid of, and the players we've brought in and what we've achieved, you wouldn't swap any of them.
Not at all. No, not at all.
You wouldn't swap any of them. And all right, there is somebody, there is some that have, you know, were wanted to leave, and there is some that have come in that have that haven't performed. But that's how it goes for everyone. Mr. Sinclair said, if you're happy winning the league every 10 years, this model's good. Well, we've won one, and that was a season ago. So we might need another 8 or 9 years to come back to that. But I get where you're coming from, Mr. Sinclair. I do get it, because I do feel that the model at times needs to be
tweaked a little bit.
Broken through a little bit of a barrier at times. I do get that. But I'm not having the negative spend. Paulie Walnut says the game is off tomorrow. The players are having a quiz. Yes, they are. Gav, what's your net spend on cans?
Chris is not doing the questions for them.
My net spend on cans is in minus.
That's a thorny subject over here at the minute.
Net spend on cans at the moment is in the minus into 2022. I'm being very, very good.
I was loads of miles, mate.
Gav, what annoys you more, Brendan Rodgers or the net spend argument? I'm not going into it. It's 11:30.
Tommy Tuchel.
Throw Tommy Tuchel in there, and it's tables, ladders, chairs match, to be perfectly honest with you. Right, Kev, you've nothing. Conroy, anything else before you go?
No, just looking forward to the game tomorrow, guys, and hopefully it would be really nice to win tomorrow. You want to win every game, but as Kev says, I said a cagey 2-0, but if we could actually win by 4 or whatever, that would be very satisfying tomorrow.
Absolutely. I'm going to the driving range tomorrow before the game. I'll be back for it. And then I think me and Kev, are we doing the post-match, Kev?
Yeah, we may as well.
Yeah, sure, we might as well. Why not? Chris, anything else before we go?
No, look forward to the match tomorrow. And me and Kev meet me Friday night again, isn't it, mate?
Yep. Don't know what we're going to chat about. We're definitely going to do an AFCON review, because some of the things that happened today you wouldn't see in a Sunday game.
Absolutely box office, though. Absolutely box office.
Every game, there's something. I've never seen so many 1-0s in a tournament. And what happened today with the referee blowing up on 85 minutes?
Someone said 11 games so far, and they've all been under 1.5 goals in the betting.
The most popular result, I think, if you were going to the bookies and betting every game 1-0, you'd be up a pretty penny by now.
Yeah,
Mr. Sinclair says, great talk, Gav. Love the show when there's balance. Mate, listen, your comments are as valuable as anybody else's in here. And I'll agree with loads of comments in here. I'll tell people I agree with them. I'll disagree, and I'll tell you that I disagree. But at the end of the day, I respect everything you have to say. I'd never turn around and go, you know, what you're saying is pathetic. I will give you my argument. I get where you're coming from. I get where everyone comes from with regards to contracts, players on the pitch, results, owners. I get it all. I do have opinions on certain things, and some things I just can't get my head around. And one of those was tonight. But listen, watch every night. Keep coming with the comments without a shadow of a doubt. Chris, sorry I cut across you there.
No. So not much for me. So we're just looking forward to that. Obviously, the game tomorrow, and then the games at the weekend. So
Okay.
All good fun, really.
Red Steve says, Gav, don't fall down the hole at the golf. It's the driving range is sap. There's no holes in the driving range.
Good job.
Silly Red Steve. You ruined it for yourself there right at the end.
He was just Steve.
It's just Steve. He won't be just Steve. He's Red Steve, but he's made a fool of himself there. Fool of yourself, you made, Steve. But anyway, that has been the midweek fix for this week. Hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the share button. You know all this stuff. And I'll be back at 2 p.m. tomorrow with the Cop update. Me and Kev will be back with the post match at 10ish tomorrow night. That has been it. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.